All right, guys, welcome to Shop Talk, hosted by Aries Garage. My name's Casey. This is
Eli.
all right, and today, this is our first go at a podcast. This is Eli's first time on camera. You guys have watched me on camera for a while now, but this is Eli's first time on camera. So we're gonna see how this goes, and we're just gonna talk about some stuff that's kind of important to us. One thing that we're going to stick with, I think, is talking about car news at the beginning of each podcast, and this week we're going to talk about Carvana going bankrupt.
Yep.
Do you do any shopping on Facebook Marketplace?
Very little.
Okay, well, Carvana does. As we all know, Carvana has a lot to do with the used car market and stuff. So having Carvana go bankrupt is going to plummet used car prices, and
Right.
we all know that those have been really high for quite some time. Hopefully, that means we're going to get like a lot of builds, a lot more builds. A lot more people are going to be able to afford stuff. Hopefully, we even see it affect dealerships maybe a little bit.
Yep.
But but I don't know. It might affect dealerships more in a bad way because dealerships might get the increase in sales since they're losing a competitor.
Right.
So they might other dealerships might skyrocket the prices.
That's true. That is true.
I don't know. I don't do a lot of shopping on Facebook Marketplace, other than the C10 that I got over a year ago and the 327.
Right. Other than most, I just, look at, cars and trucks and everything on there, but I haven't really purchased off of Facebook Marketplace. But
I don't know. Every time I've done it, I've just about got burnt.
Yep, every time. Or if you're trying to sell something on there, then everybody will lowball you. You've got something that's worth $200 and they try to offer you $20 for it.
It's a freaking headache. Well, or the scams that are on there. I have I was trying to, when I was selling car parts and stuff, I have a whole bunch of used parts from people returning stuff.
Right.
And I tried listing some of them because they're still brand new in the box. They're just returned. People bought the wrong stuff. And I tried listing some of it for dirt cheap just to get rid of it.
So it's not taking
our
space.
front porch literally has a complete exhaust system for a Toyota.
Oh yeah.
Like I kid you not, I don't know if you have to show you. It's got like literally this muffler and everything. It's about like a 6-foot piece of exhaust, and it's in there. But I listed it all, and I kept getting people, oh, can I text you about this? And and very clearly a scam. And it's just like, no, you can message me on here, and then they just never reply.
Yep.
And
as soon as you give them the real deal, then they're done with it.
Yep. And they want to get your passwords and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's always really sketchy. And then, but yeah, I got burnt on that C10, and I really haven't, because I bought the 327 and then I bought the C10, and I haven't bought anything.
Right.
Since. I don't know if I want to.
Yeah. It's one of those things.
All right, so moving on from car news. So we'll try to find an interesting article each week. We'll have a link down below to an article talking about the Carvana thing if you guys are interested in that. That way you guys know that we're not just talking out our butts about this.
Right.
But anyways, do you respect all builds, Eli?
I respect all builds, yes.
Really? So if you drove past a clapped out 1994 Honda Civic, fart can, wheels sticking out as far as they can, you're going to respect it.
I can respect it for the fact that he's put forth the effort and his time and he thinks it's cool. That's where I respect it at, as far as, as a build.
Okay. All right. What if, I don't even know more. What if you could get about that? Okay. All right. What if, because I know you're a truck guy. So Eli has a 2012 Dodge lifted truck, diesel Cummins, all this stuff. But so he's a truck guy, and obviously I'm a car guy, but
two completely different animals. But
yeah. But anyways, what happens if you see someone building a SEMA build? Build, okay, they build it. I've shown you pictures of them. You've seen videos of them online. Right. Okay, those trucks that are built for off-roading, but never see a touch of mud in their entire lives. What do you think? And keep in mind, a SEMA build's different than an AutoZone clapped out Honda, because they've not that you do have to work your way up in the world of SEMA. But for the most part, a lot of it's handed to them. It's not like they're going working a 9-to-5
sponsorship.
It's not like they're working a blue collar 9-to-5 job to afford to do it.
Right. As far as a lot of people, I see what you're saying, because a lot of people say that a truck's made for doing truck stuff, and but in my eyes, with that is he's building it for a show. So, trying to think how to word this. He's building it for a show, and he's building it to do what he wants to do with it. So he did, you know what I'm saying? He didn't buy it for a work truck.
No,
he bought it to show.
And I completely agree. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Right. No, I get that. Yeah.
Okay, but what if he's built for a show? Should he use off-road parts or should he use show parts?
Yeah, that kind of depends on how you look at that. I mean, I see what you're saying with that, but it's hard to. Sometimes it's hard to get show parts because if you think about it, most lifts to cover lift companies, they have to say for off-road use only. So
Prop 65 stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So to cover their butt, they have to be able to do that. So
I think is where I draw the line. Is recently, I don't remember what type of car it was, but recently this guy had it was a huge thing on TikTok, YouTube. Everyone was getting thousands of views. They just posted about it. What is it called again? Where they have the tires sticked out? Oh, cambered.
Yeah,
okay.
cambered.
So he had a cambered ricer looking thing.
Right.
And it burnt down. Like a fire started under the hood, and it burnt down. And he kept saying that someone started the fire, and it became a huge argument online. The issue is he admittedly drove it around without insurance.
Oh my goodness.
And so insurance didn't cover it. And so I think but again, I guess it's not necessarily respecting the build. That comes down to not respecting the person.
Right.
Like I don't respect that he was doing it because that puts a lot of people. I mean, what happens if he would have gotten a wreck, and that that he couldn't have covered the bills of someone else's insurance bill and stuff like that. Right. But yeah, I mean, it was a huge thing on TikTok because it was. I think the fire department did rule it as an unnatural fire, like it wasn't caused on its own, but they didn't come out and say it was vandalism. So there's a chance he might have started it himself.
I see.
But there is no evidence.
But you would think if he had started himself, he would have had insurance.
Yeah, exactly.
To cover his cost.
And hopefully our editor will put like a picture up somewhere on the screen because as soon as you guys saw the picture, you guys would probably recognize it. Cause
it'll be in one of the corners.
Yeah, it'll be somewhere. We'll get a picture. I'll send a picture of it over to him. Chevy, Ford, or Dodge. You get one for the rest of your life. And in this world, because we as people who've worked on cars, we know that the big ideal is maintenance on them. That's the big thing. Okay, so and in this world where you only get one of them for the rest of your life, you get oil changes every 3,000 miles for free.
So now are we talking cars or trucks here? That's
your pick.
My pick.
You can have whichever car, truck, whatever from each lineup, but that's the only car you have for the rest of your life. But all maintenance is taken care of by the manufacturer.
So I don't have to touch maintenance.
You don't have to touch maintenance.
Well, if we're going car side of it, I would choose a Hellcat Red Eye.
Okay. Are you going to stick with that? Okay. Say you had a kid. Would you still go that route?
Yeah, because I would get a Charger for crew.
But you only get one. It's the only car you get.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, but I see what you're saying.
I'll give you this. Your wife can have one vehicle. She can have one car for the rest of her life as well.
Then yeah, I would get a Charger Red Eye because then I would still have a 4-door sedan.
Okay.
But
making over 700 horsepower.
Yeah, but making over 700 horsepower.
Okay.
That's not as far as that's not very unheard of.
Yeah.
To have that.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
So if you had to choose Chevy, Dodge, or Ford.
My issue with Dodge is their cars are boats. They're heavy.
Yeah.
The Ford, I mean, I can get the Mustang. I'm not a big Mustang fan. Like
I see that.
If I did, it would have to be like a 2010 when they had Grabber Blue.
Right.
I really love Grabber Blue Mustangs. They have a place in my heart. I think that dude in blue. Do you know who that dude in blue is on YouTube?
Yep.
Okay, that because of him, that put a special place in my heart for him.
Right.
But
it's difficult once you start thinking about the rest of your life or having that vehicle for the rest of your life. It changes things.
I want to say C7, but because those are 2-seaters, but like in a Camaro, you can at least put a car seat in the back seat. It may not be the most, most
best practical. Yeah.
It might be a pain in the butt to do, but you can still do it.
Right.
Man, I might have to lock in. Okay, I would say Hellcat, but we'd have to go back in time because when Dodge released the Hellcat originally, it was the only wide body that they had off the line.
Correct.
But then they started producing all of them as wide bodies, and that's when I started to lose my touch for.
Right. Because you had you're saying that based off like the Scat Pack. To
yeah,
the
like the base model Challenger became a wide body instead of just a Hellcat. So that's when I started to lose my respect for him because like if you're paying Hellcat prices, you should someone with the base model shouldn't be getting the
same body kit as
yes. So I think for that, I mean the Ford GT is cool, but Ford is really, if you do one wrong thing, they take the car back from you.
Right. Yep.
I think I might have to stick with the Camaro.
Camaro.
It's I think I am. Ease of power's there.
Right.
But I mean that makes me sound like a bias because I mean I drive a
right.
Camaro.
I say you own one. So.
But I don't know. I'm gonna go stick with the Camaro. I'm gonna go 2023 ZL1 1LE Camaro though. Like the last model, the highest end option they got.
Right.
I'll go all in with that.
Okay.
So same idea. Chevy versus Ford versus Dodge. If you could just which one's better? Just in a daily life, which one's better?
You're saying just on like a day-to-day use? Just
a day-to-day use, Chevy, Ford, or Dodge. Which one's like your favorite for those three? And Eli's also owned a Ford pickup truck, and he had a 7.3 for quite a while. He grew up working on it, and then he's got the Dodge. So he's had. I think the only thing he's never had is a Chevy truck.
Yep. Yeah, I've never had a Chevy.
You even had a 5.0 Ford pickup truck for a while.
Yep. I did have that.
Yeah, so he's got a good taste.
That's a tough one. So are we talking still car here?
Whichever.
Whatever. Okay.
Just out of from a not necessarily from a what vehicle, but just which manufacturer do you trust the most?
Gotcha.
This one's really hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Just on a day-to-day use, I would probably have to still say, now this is on a day-to-day use. I would probably have to say, as far as usability and everything with that, I would have to say probably a Dodge pickup. Now, again, I know it's probably, you think I'm biased because I own one, but not a lot of pickup trucks anymore, other than the 6.7 Cummins, can you work on them as easy. Your Chevys, I don't like them because they don't have a solid straight axle underneath the front ends of them. So on a day-to-day use, I would probably have to pick a Dodge Ram pickup.
That's fair. I mean, they make very easy to make power on those Cummins motors. Right. You can throw anything at it and pick up a couple hundred horsepower.
And based off your Chevy to the Ford, most of any time, whenever you're doing major engine work, you pretty well got to pull the cabs to make it easier on yourself. So, when you don't have the accessibility to a lift or the facility to do repairs on, that's kind of where I like as far as to a Dodge.
I might go Ford on this one. Something with the EcoBoost, the 3.5.
Okay.
Like we've talked about, because our plans for what we want to do with them. They make great power. I mean, obviously, I would want to get one with a warranty on it. Yep. Because I mean, the timing issues, Ford's always had timing issues though. But they make great power from the factory. You get a small glimpse of that turbo life. Yep. Without paying thousands of dollars a year in diesel. So it's like it's just a great starter.
Yeah, now if you're going for like a grocery getter or things like that, an F-150 would be great for that. I guess for putting around town or anything like that. That would be a good avenue to go down.
And when I say I mean there's two versions. There's the 3.5 and then there's the 3.5 EcoBoost. I'm just make it clear. I'm clearly talking about the turboed application.
Right. Correct.
Because power and those. I don't think there's really a place for naturally aspirated vehicles from the factory unless you're talking LS. I think LS motors are the only ones making the power. I mean, the Z06 made over 600 horsepower naturally aspirated on the C8. So, so twin turboed EcoBoost. Ford Focus, F-150. I mean, it gets even bigger conversation when you start talking about Lincoln Navigators and stuff like that. It opens the door for a lot more. And I think I think the biggest issue that a lot of even mechanics that know this, they overthink it, is a lot of people start arguing. They'll take Chevy or Ford or Dodge to the death with them, they're like diehard fans for it. But at the end of the day, I think smart people really know that it just comes down to how you maintenance the car. I mean, yeah, when you first release the car, a manufacturer does anyway. When they first release the car, there's going to be issues with it. Correct. I mean, like Ford's always battled with timing issues, the timing belts, the timing or cam phasers, all that stuff. They've always had issues with it and stuff. So I get that stuff having a problem with it, but some of the little stuff just isn't worth the argument. Like, I remember what did your brother, what did Caleb have that he kept where he went through like 3 transmissions?
That was a 2013 Ford Fusion with the EcoBoost.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, but I don't know if that might have had more to do with how he drove it.
That is true, but I kind of seen it too, where it was a 4-cylinder EcoBoost with a turbo on it.
Yeah,
and I felt like it almost had a little bit too much, because if I'm not mistaken, the V6 has a different transmission behind it. So now correct me if I'm wrong in that, but I don't know that for
there's so many transmissions now.
Yeah, that's the
I know for the most part, a lot of people are using 10 speeds and stuff, but I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
So on to our next topic. This one's really, really important to me and Eli. Really grew up on this, and so this might be a little bit cliche to other people, but for us, this is like our childhood.
Yep.
What's your favorite Fast and Furious film?
Favorite Fast and Furious film? If right now, as far as if that's a tough one. Up till pre-existing Fast and Furious that's been released.
Yeah, all the ones that have been released.
Okay. I think if I would have to, like, if I had to choose one, Fast and Furious, and I had to watch it, over and over again or anything like that, I think right now I would probably choose Fast 5.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That's if I had to sit there and and that was the only one I could watch over and over again.
That's the one where
they done
Letty, they have to go get their, like, Letty comes back or whatever.
That's the one where that's the one where they done the bank heist on.
Oh, okay. Which is the one? Is it Fast 4 where Dom goes undercover to find the guy who killed Letty or whatever? I thought it was Fast 5. No, or is that Fast 6? I can't remember. It's Fast 4, 5, or 6.
I think Fast 4 is when Dom went undercover. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's close. I do like Fast 5. Did he smack it or did he grab it?
Right.
Set that movie.
Yes.
That was great. That was one of the best lines.
Because I think Letty came back she was introduced into the end of Fast 6 again about her reappearance. So
something like that.
It's been a while since I've seen all of them through again.
It's been about a year, I think. I right before Fast 10 came out, I actually got Alex to watch all of them.
Oh yeah,
nice. She watched every single one of them, so I was very impressed. Now you may or may not know about this, but obviously, Paul Walker died. Right. Have you heard of the allegations? And it's made it really hard to kind of respect him a little bit. Like I still tear up a little bit. I watched a video the other day of an interview of his brother when his brother found out.
I have not heard the allegations.
Supposedly there is some pretty good photo evidence of it, but supposedly he was like 30, 40 something years old, like that.
That sounds about right.
And he was married. Supposedly, and again, there's picture evidence of it. He had he was having an affair with a 16-year-old girl.
Oh boy, I did not know that.
Yeah, I did. I figured you probably hadn't heard about it.
Yeah, I have not heard about
and
that.
And it really sucks it just really sucks because every time I'll start tearing up about him being gone and not being in any movies, and then I remember that bit of information and I'm like,
wow. Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah, I figured you probably did.
Wow.
So but man, I still I remember texting you the day he died.
Yep.
I don't
remember that.
I do.
Yep.
I remember that.
That was like the first thing that day when you texted me.
Yeah, that was.
Yep.
Man, that hit hard. I guess because but yeah. So a lot of people hate the Fast series, and I think it's because they've never. I think if you hate the Fast and Furious series, it's because you've never turned a wrench in your life. Because everyone knows that it's so. I mean, obviously, you're not going to be able to take a freaking car to space and with it, but we've all thought about it before. We've all thought that's the thing. We've all the Fast series is just about every car guy's dream.
Right.
Like during school days, I remember in high school, I would just sit and daydream all these like random things, and I swear the Fast and Furious is just probably written by a bunch of teenage boys because they hit every wild thought that I've ever had on the day. Like anything and any cool. I mean, heck, they have freaking tanks and stuff, driving tanks and anything and everything. Okay. Speaking of tanks, have you seen that? You know, like the. So I know it's this political stuff aside, like the Ukraine stuff, like Ukraine and Russia being at war and stuff like that.
I have not heard on that.
Okay, well, okay, so it's a huge thing. But anyway, the Ukraine government made it to where if you steal a Russian tank, you don't have to pay property taxes on it.
Really?
Yeah, because they were trying to encourage people to go overpower the tanks, and so there's literally videos of little town people just driving around in tanks because they went and stole a Russian tank.
Wow. Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah. All right. Most redneck fix.
Oh boy.
What's the most redneck thing you've done?
I'm gonna say probably, especially here recently. Don't know, per se, when back in high school when we first started turning wrenches, not as, in my head as fresh as this, but I'd say probably the most recent one is I was working on a 5.3 Chevy half ton, and the transmission was cracked on it. Yeah. And
4L60.
Yep, 4L60 transmission, and had to JB weld it.
Okay.
By the owner, he wanted that done, but yeah, had to JB weld a crack on the side of the transmission. Okay. It was down by the pan, so where the pan meets the case, the case was broken. We had to, but still to this day, it is still not leaking. So it's kind of crazy to think of it in that regards. But
I haven't had a whole lot of redneck fixes recently. I can't think of any, but and you're gonna laugh at this one because I know you're gonna remember it. I think everything we did on the Chrysler 300.
Yeah.
We at one point we snapped. I hated that card. It's bringing me like trauma just to think about. Yep. Remember the oil pan bolt that snapped and we tried to use an aluminum self-tapping screw?
Yep. I do remember that.
And then doing that, we snapped the oil pan, and so we also tried to JB weld the oil pan.
Yep.
Oh man,
that car had a lot of issues.
Were you around when we blew the motor in it?
I was not here whenever you.
Okay, so after guys, we worked on this car for 3 or 4 years straight, rebuilding the motor, and I finally got it done one day. I had it running. Goodness. I drove it to Columbia multiple times. Apparently, Chrysler thought it was a good idea to put the water pump internally in the car right above the oil pump.
Really?
And an water pump, when it goes bad, it leaks.
Right.
So what a common issue on it is the water pump leaks into the oil pump, clogs up the oil pump, and starves the motor
of oil.
Yep. So that was its final after years of rebuilding it, thousands of dollars in it.
I helped you one time do. I know we done head gaskets on that same motor.
Yep. It was like a year or two before I even got that finished afterwards.
Oh,
and stuff.
okay.
And,
yeah.
But the water pump went bad, and we had just put a brand new oil pump in it too.
Wow.
And so we get it, and we crack it open and everything, and the water or the coolant is just milk, or oil is just milky as can be, and it clogged up the oil pump.
Oh my goodness!
It was that everything about that car is freaking crazy. We ended up selling it to some guy who I don't remember if we told him it had a knock or not.
Oh boy.
And he wanted to use the parts off of it he had another
For another
300,
one.
and he wanted to,
Yeah.
and I don't remember if he knew or not. Oh, and is how we got it loaded on the trailer because we couldn't run and he didn't have a winch.
Right.
And for you guys that can't see this, right behind the shed is a hill.
Yep.
So he parked his trailer at the bottom of the hill.
And you just
we pushed it down the hill.
No way.
I kid you not. Yep. The guy drove
good
like
thing the brakes worked.
Yeah, he drove like 3 hours for it too. He wanted it. And
oh my goodness.
it was so it had a final redneck goodbye as well. Like final send off was redneck as could be.
Wow.
And he showed up in a clapped out Chevy Avalanche. Too.
Oh yeah.
It was rusted out and everything. But yeah. So that was that. So this is our first episode, so we have a whole lot of other topics to talk about. Is there anything you got on your mind after, like, in conclusion to all these topics? Any questions for me?
I don't.
While he thinks, if there's any topics you guys want us to talk about next week, drop a comment down below. Send us a message over on Instagram. We'll have all that stuff in the description. But anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. Maybe next week we can cover our most professional fix.
Yep.
And maybe that's one of the topics we'll throw in there. But so drop a comment down below of recommended topics you guys want us to hear us talk about. We'll talk about anything and everything other than I think it's safe to rule out politics.
Yes.
I have not a big political person, so there's too much involved in. So anything other than that, I mean, it doesn't have to be about cars. Drop a comment. Also, send us a message over on Instagram of your coolest car. We're going to do a coolest car of the week for our next podcast next week. Make sure it's actually cool. I don't want to see a rust bucket that's just barely pieced together. Something that's actually cool.
Yep. And then the coolest car of the week will also get a shout out.
Yeah, we'll post you guys' pictures somewhere here on the screen, and you guys will see it. And we'll give share your guys' Instagram tag, all that stuff. So make sure you guys send us a message over there. And in order to get that shout out, though, you do have to be subscribed to the channel, though. Right. So send us a screenshot of you being subscribed to the channel, and we'll see how this next episode goes. And hopefully you guys enjoy this. Catch you guys later.
Yep.